What killed masculinity in video games? I think we all know.
Does anybody else feel like masculinity has slowly been drained from modern video games?
Dude, just look at this. This is... wow.
I was looking at recent staff photos of Ubisoft and Halo Infinite developers.
And people don't believe me when I say that Ubisoft is 90% women. There you go. Right in front of your eyes. And that one guy who is in a leadership position probably comes to work as scared every single day thinking when the great replacement is finally going to hit him.
And it's all starting to make sense. It's a bunch of fat white liberal women. And white liberal women have no interest in masculine, manly, male characters.
Now, to be fair, these women also have no interest in actually proper good women. They make abominations. They make absolute horrors to God instead of women. All the modern day women in gaming that are made are pretty much as one completely repulsive.
They wouldn't even know how to write one if they tried. This is why Rockstar, a company founded by men that at least in 2018 was still mostly run by men, created the magnum opus Red Dead Redemption 2, a game with a manly, well-written main protagonist, Arthur Morgan. If you want to see the seismic shift away from masculine characters, honestly, all you need to do is play a few games from 2006, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about.
When men were men and women were women and the world was simpler. What a time.
Consider how many masculine military games came out in the 2000s. Medal of Honor, Call of Duty, Brothers in Arms, Gears of War, Operation Flashpoint, Rainbow Six, Ghost Recon, Splinter Cell. All of these games were starring men and had themes like brotherhood, duty, sacrifice, honor. Almost all of these franchises have either been killed off, turned into multiplayer games, or went woke. I often wonder why so few modern games
Almost all of these games have went woke. Some of them have kind of reversed course, but you know, I mean,
appeal to me. And I think another big reason is this. Everything is just so gay now. Compare the games I just mentioned to the modern trash we have to deal with in Overwatch and Apex. Almost every character in these new games is either gay, lesbian, bisexual, trans, or something else. Like, what happened to...
What a great business strategy, by the way. Appeal to the demographic that is less than 1% of the world's population, and it's probably not going to make it to 33. What a smart business choice that is.
A masculine dude with a hot chick on his arm. I love the idea of Xbox Game Pass, but I swear every time I open it up and look for new games, there's just so many games that look gay now.
I hate Xbox Game Pass, by the way. You're just losing money on it. That's the reality.
Refuse to play another cutesy 2D platformer or a game with a cutesy art style by some indie developer anymore. I'm just done with these games. If you want my 100% real thoughts on this, I just think the entire video game industry has gone woke and gay, and almost nothing they are making appeals to me in any way anymore. So this is why I mostly play 20-year-old games on my channel, because they were just better. I was recently reading an insider interview about what went down at Volition Studios with the disastrous Saints Row reboot from an insider.
Oh man, the Saints Row reboot. Now that was painful. Now this is just pain. This bleeds the eye.
Source. This source said that the LGBTQ community within the company was actually pretty small, but they are the loudest and the most annoying, and the company leadership chose to promote these people into key roles.
Obviously, that's what always happens.
And that's how you get the absolute dumpster fire of a game that was Saints Row 2022. I think what you have at a lot of these game studios is about 80% of the staff is probably just hetero dudes trying to do their job, but they're afraid of speaking up or saying what they actually think, and then you have the LGBTQ folks making decisions about what kind of game to make.
This is pretty accurate, because if you disagree with them, well, that goes straight to HR because you're a bad man. And guess what? HR is the one that hired these people in the first place. Everything stems from HR, because HR at the end of the day is pretty much responsible for 99% of hirings at any company. Oh yeah, it's not really that great, especially in these big companies, okay? And considering HR is human resources and all of that garbage, guess whose trans native belly dancer PhD got to be the head of that department. Exactly. The problems stem there a lot.
And everything just ends up being safe and soft and sensitive because, oh, we can't hurt anybody's feelings. So, of course, you get these shitty dumpster fire video games that nobody wants to play. After reading a lot of insider interviews at these developers, this is my sense of what has been happening. I also feel like there's this kind of unholy alliance right now between games journalists, white liberal women at game studios, and the LGBTQ community at game studios. And they all seem to be united around one thing. They actually hate gamers. And who are gamers overwhelmingly? Well, heterosexual dudes like us, of course. This recent Reddit thread was written by an actual game developer and made me realize this. It reads, headline,
Am I
The headline is all you need. I'm not gonna lie. The headline is all you need. It completely conveys everything you need to go know about the situation.
allowed to say this? I kind of hate gamers. I'm a professional game designer, and I'm worried that I'm starting to hate gamers. Watching the gaming events on YouTube last month with the chat on was extremely disheartening experience. Every time a character that wasn't a cis-het white man appeared on screen, the chats would fill with messages calling the game woke or complaining about DEI. Every game that wasn't a shooter or a hyper-casual competitive online game garnered zzz and
Hyper casual competitive online game. That almost seems like a contradiction, but it's not. Strange times, strange times. And also, you know what's the worst part about woke? The people who are woke don't understand the definition of woke. They can put... If you ask them what's woke, they're going to give you the most absolute out-of-this-world definition, and they're not being ironic. They are being truthful. They are going to explain to you something that you could have never guessed in your wildest dreams.
boring comments. I've seen people implying that the MC in Fable trailers is ugly because it's
It is 100%, 150%. In fact, wait. Let's give it the whole 300%, no doubt. Okay? The Fable trailer is as woke and stupid as it can be.
a self-insert of some random level designer working at
And it is. And it literally is. We have seen the pictures. Yes, it is a self-insert. It's a 1-for-1, in fact. The character is not... No one can convince me that the Fable character is not a self-insert of some lunatic.
Playground whom they deemed not fuckable enough. I don't know, it's just the internet magnifying negative voices, I guess, doing what it does best. But it's making me real tired of gamers.
So at this point, it seems that games journalists and all of the liberal LGBT mafia that work at game studios actually hate their audience.
Yeah.
And this is a comment I keep reading from you guys again and again. I swear they literally hate us. They seem to be dead set on giving their audience exactly what we don't want. How long is
I mean, is that even a doubtable thing? I think that's fully on the money. I think most people think like that.
your business going to be open if you're dead set on not giving the customer what they want? This is why when skanks like Alyssa Mercante are...
Well, it's really easy to think that you are in the right when you think you have the, well, in this case, emotional, moral, and whatnot high ground. That these people just think that you are an idiot who doesn't understand what's right and wrong in this world. And the fact that you are not accepting this and not buying their product is not their fault for being completely inside some kind of echo chamber or completely outside of reality. No, it's your fault for not being like them, because they are enlightened.
crying about Kotaku shutting down and losing their jobs, and game studios are going under because they were associated with Sweet Baby Inc., I just laugh. Let them burn. Let all these companies burn who don't know how to give the audience. The wonderful irony in all this is that it's the very games that the woke cancel mob has tried to cancel that seem to do the best. Remember Hogwarts Legacy? Yeah, men who dress in women's clothes tried to get it canceled. Instead, the game sold 25 million copies. Oops. Remember Elden Ring? Remember how the woke mob tried to accuse FromSoft games of having, quote, problematic depictions of women? Oops. Sold 25 million copies. At this point, making an offensive game seems to guarantee that game's success. We could...
Pretty much, honestly. Well, it's not a guaranteed success, but it definitely is going to probably boost your sales because at least people are going to look at it and say, hey, this is not made for the mentally unstable. Nice. That's a pretty big selling point nowadays.
You could talk about Stellar Blade, pissing off
Damn.
all of the liberal progressives, and yet everybody went out and bought it. Okay, so in the rest of this video, I want to give you 4 examples of a game or game series going from masculine to feminine or gay, and it basically either killed or ruined the franchise.
Oh man, he has Wolfenstein Youngblood here, probably Gears of War, oof, Saints Row, obviously. Red Storm Entertainment, what the hell was Red Storm Entertainment even?
Basically either killed or ruined the franchise. Number 1, Ubisoft and Red Storm Entertainment. So Red Storm Entertainment was a video game company founded by the legendary Tom Clancy to make Tom Clancy video games.
Oh boy.
He sold the company to Ubisoft in the year 2000, and Ubisoft in the 2000s actually had some balls and made some of the manliest games you've ever seen. There were the Splinter Cell games, the Ghost Recon games, the Rainbow Six games, and the Far
Cry 2, yeah.
Cry games. All of these games pretty much feature exclusively men, and these IPs in the 2000s had so much testosterone, just a single glance from a woman in their direction would get her pregnant.
Nice.
I mean, motherfucking Sam Fisher, come on. The dude is the ultimate Giga Chad. Scott Mitchell in Ghost Recon. Now, you pick your own character in Far Cry 2, but it's definitely a manly game that will put hair on your chest. So what is Red Storm Entertainment up to today?
I don't want to even see, honestly. No.
Well, I recently saw that Tom Clancy's The Division Heartland is being led by a man who dresses
What the hell is this? And what the hell is this?
in women's clothes in his free time.
Obviously.
Now, look, I don't give a shit if you want to identify as a dragon and go around.
I do give a shit, okay? Listen. The idea that you're gonna ruin the world around me and that is not gonna affect me, you can take that, shove it up where the sun don't shine, and introduce yourself to a force multiplier. Okay, that's my opinion on you. Oh, you're not. No, you're ruining the world.
Laying magic eggs. But can we agree that the least masculine thing on earth you can do is dress in women's clothes? Tom Clancy would be rolling over in his grave right now if he knew the absolute disaster that Red Storm Entertainment had become. Number 2, Wolfenstein.
Oh,
so
boy.
I was recently playing Wolfenstein The New Order for the first time, which came out in 2014. And I have to say, of all the games I was sure were going to avoid woke Western progressivism, this
Yeah, you think it would be Wolfenstein, but never doubt.
game was pretty high up there. The first 3 entries of the reboot were all fantastic. They had the badass BJ Blazkowicz, an absolute unit, as the main character, ripping apart entire armies of Nazis with the sexy and smart Anya as his arm candy and wife. Machine Game's first 3 Wolfenstein entries, which came out in 2014, 2015, and 2017, are all great. They have normal men and women doing normal shit in them. Awesome. But of course, the woke...
Dude, the fact that nowadays we can't even have just people doing normal people things is kind of a testament to how really bad things are.
mob had to get involved somehow.
Oh my.
So you have a beloved series with a beloved, tough, male, manly main character.
Throw the baby away.
Do you suppose it's a good idea to kill off that guy and replace him with cringy girl boss characters? Wolfenstein Youngblood came out in 2019, and it's an absolute tone-deaf disaster.
Oh god, was this a disaster? Oh my.
So many modern video games, I find myself asking, who wanted this? Who asked for this? I often ask
The mentally deranged.
the same thing of the new Star Wars shows by Kathleen Kim.
Do not even get me started on these Star Wars shows. I literally watched this, okay? There is not a single hint of plot in this entire series, okay? The last episode is the worst because it kind of tries to tie everything that happened in the episodes together, but the thing is, nothing happened in these episodes together. Listen, it's so bad. It's so... characters teleporting, motivations flipping on a dime. Well, the fact that May and Oshar, one person split into 2, explains why they are so goddamn autistic, because their brains probably got split in 2, and that's why they're flip-flopping with their motivations constantly.
Kennedy as well. The Wolfenstein reboot had the perfect synergy of story and gameplay. You are BJ Blazkowicz, unleashing his rage on the Nazis for killing everyone he loved. You see this come across in his brutal assassinations, like sticking a rusty pipe through the eye socket of an SS Waffen commander. But the setup to Wolfenstein Youngblood is incredibly cringe. In it, you play as BJ's daughters, and they're honestly nothing like him. The first time you kill somebody, they don't really want to do it, and when they finally kill the guy, they have to have lattes and talk about it afterwards. Youngblood is a perfect example of how a cutscene can go so wrong in a game.
Not only is that the obligatory minority, but you know this is supposed to be the smartest person in the universe.
So wrong in a game. BJ's setup is perfect and explains to you why you're doing the actions you're doing. BJ's daughters, however, are acting like they're in an episode of Big Bang Theory the whole time, but oh yeah, they just happen to be killing
God, Big Bang Theory was so bad.
Nazis, and haha, isn't this so funny? It's tonally all over the place and just so full of cringy and awful cinematics, which is ironic because the cinematics in the first 3 games were like so good and short, and they got to the point and they were really emotional and
but even this is supposed to be
impactful. Example number 3, Gears of War. For a full explanation of how the woke mob girl bossed Gears of War, see my video on that game, but I'll keep this short. The first 3 Gears games are an incredible trilogy focusing on the bonds and brotherhood between men. They're incredibly masculine games, focusing on duty and sacrifice and military.
And you know why this works? Because men actually form bonds. Women have no such thing. There is no such thing as sisterly love, okay? There is no such thing as the sisterhood that doesn't implode in a couple of hours because everyone starts doing, well, everything for themselves. This is why stories like this can work, and everything else is just anathema to everything.
Orders. And I know some of you hate this, but for 10,000 years, it's only been men fighting wars. Sorry. The first 3 games focus on Marcus, Dom, Cole, and Baird and tell a masculine story of brotherhood. Well, the progressive woke mob somehow got to Gears of War, and Gears 4 and 5 are about sisterhood.
Somehow, they say. Somehow.
Motherhood, being a traitor, and what it feels like to be a woman.
Damn right.
Introduce the character of Kate Diaz, who I don't think anybody gives a single fuck about.
I don't know who this even is, but I knew Gears of War had died a long time ago, and its festering corpse has been parading ever since.
What they should have done is put Kate in a spin-off game, not a mainline Gears entry. But here's the problem, of course.
I'm instantaneously going to assume that's not even going to work, by the way.
Nobody would have bought it.
Yep.
So unfortunately, Gears 4 and 5 are basically girl boss, feminist Gears of War, and any masculine story about men is put on the back burner.
The bugs are actually the good guys. That's probably what that spin-off would look like. Oh, they're just misunderstood.
Of course, the games include Baird and Marcus in them, but they're really on the back burner, and Gears is now about Kate Diaz, who I've never talked to a Gears fan even cares about. Moving on, example number 4, the Saints Row reboot. Saints Row...
Hell yeah. Dude, remember when Saints Row was fun?
Spent 10 years building up characters and building up a very distinctive and edgy and male sense of humor. It's the kind of stuff you and the guys would laugh at. Some of the recurring characters in Saints Row are
Saints Row the Third, by the way, all the way.
Johnny Gat, Julius, Aisha, Shondi, and several others. In these games, the men are men and the women are women. Johnny is edgy and hilarious and always has a hot...
I mean, that's heresy nowadays to imagine that, these things can be like that.
...chick on his arm. The humor is crude and hilarious, and the Saints are always getting into trouble. So what went wrong with the reboot? Well, the woke 2022 reboot...
Literally, what didn't go wrong with the reboot?
Thought it was a good idea to kill off every single character from the old Saints Row games, and I guess they thought we would be cool with that. But don't worry, all of the beloved characters you've come to know and love have been replaced with tokenistic characters from a literal seminar on diversity.
You know what's the worst part about woke? Again, those people don't think these are tokens. Those people legitimately think, yes, this is the world, this is how it looks. Why aren't people liking my stuff? That's what they ironically think. It's complete clown world.
You've got the gay Asian man, the girl boss lesbian, another girl boss lesbian, and the gay black guy.
Typically, by the way, it's just the Twinkie black guy, but there you go.
LGBTQ mafia didn't just kill Saints Row, they crucified it on a rainbow flag. And this is what you get, guys. This is what you fuckers get for supporting these people. They turn out shitty games that aren't funny, that aren't cool, that aren't masculine. So stop hiring these people. Game
At least all the female characters aren't fat.
developers need to stop putting gay stuff in games, and they need to fire every liberal white woman if they want us to ever buy a game again. Because I'm serious, we are done with this shit. We're not buying these games. Like, Phil Spencer is out here complaining about how people...
Now, the problem with this is we already know how this works. Disaster after disaster after, you guessed, disaster happens. And all of these games are woke as shit. And somehow, no one seems to understand the message that, yeah, we're not going to buy this garbage. It's this, and you know what this is? This already happened in Hollywood, as we all very well are aware of. And specifically with, you know, Disney, Marvel, Star Wars, and all of these things. And, well, they're just bleeding literal billions a year, failure after failure, and what do? They somehow stay the course of woke. They somehow stay the course of garbage. They literally don't learn. They do one project, then they're like, why did no one like this? I wonder. And then they just double down and make it worse. It's not about telling a story. It's not about making a game. It's about sending a message. It's about being on the right side of history. A history that is collapsing on them, by the way, thank God. And that's kind of it. It's a travesty.
People aren't spending as much money on games anymore. I guarantee if you give us hetero dudes hot chicks in games again and manly men, you will see sales go through the roof. Bring back the glory days of video games. I have this theory that in a few years, we're going to see a turn back to the golden era of video games.
Hey, listen, okay? Currently, we are at the point where people are saying, oh, Disney is going to make things better. They're going to fire all the woke nonsense people. And I say people with extreme lightness. They're going to fire all of these people and they're going to switch around. This same thought circulated 2 years ago. The same thought circulated roughly 4 years ago and 6 years ago. Guess what happened? Nothing. They still lost money. They shut down studios. They completely failed. They are 60 billion in debt. That's a billion with a B, boy. Okay, listen. You think gaming is gonna be different? How many times have we heard the idea that gaming is gonna be back already? A couple. Gaming is not gonna get better. They're gonna still make shit that no one buys, and studios are gonna be shut down, and the same lunatics are gonna probably be, well, at this rate, probably hired by Blizzard to work on Diablo 4. There you go. And, you know, some other stuff. The World of Warcraft Water Within main storyline character that's gonna probably play a ginormous role in the story is, by the way, and I wish I was making this shit up, a black, half-elf, lesbian, cripple. Female. There you go. And enjoy it. Because you know it's going to be great. You know it's going to be... You know this is a 10 out of 10 banger situation just ready to unravel.
And people are going to start buying games again. I recently saw this crazy chart from 2023 that basically showed that people are only playing old games these days.
Yeah, it's believable. The old games are replayable. Let's face it, the old game, 5 years later that you have played it, you don't remember what's in there. You can replay it, no problem. In any case, that was really good. Andy Pants Gaming, 10 out of 10. Bye-bye.